All right, what's going on YouTube land? This Rod Zilla and Oyanga Ali back with another A to Z, ready to talk about anything and everything that's on our hearts and minds, with the goal of bringing everyone together, connecting, finding solutions to the world's biggest problems, and so we can play. Maybe that's an overstatement, overreach, but definitely about
Well,
bringing
no,
people together, man, on different thought patterns, so we can have adult discussions, right?
yeah, to be able to get people to think hard again, because again, we don't think hard, we don't think deep, we think so shallow.
No doubt.
And I will say this too. Um, I like to have good conversations. I like to have nice debates, but there's sometimes when debating can go a little bit wrong, you know.
Yeah, no
Um,
doubt.
Me and my son are both on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to beliefs of a democratic system or a republican, and I'm independent pretty much. I'll go wherever I think this stuff needs to be. you know I'm not
No
just going
doubt.
to stand on a republican if I think he's wrong or whatever. And but with that being said, I think the best way for us to have helpful or thoughtful or nourishing conversations or anything when it comes to uh, politics is not to argue, but to show your side and let the other person show their side without a actual debate. Just look at this or hear this. Let's not talk about anything on my side. After I show you, you tell me your side. You know what I mean? And then
No
we can
doubt.
come back later, and talk about how that can be fixed.
Okay.
Because and the reason why I'm saying that, because me and my son, we sit there and we get into it. But Donald Trump
Not
is a
good.
pedophile. Donald Trump is a rapist. He's this, and that. And I'm like, but he's saving the country as far as with immigration. He's doing this. He's doing this. But Republicans are the dumbest people in America, and this is like, yeah, but Democrats are making it so that like they supported slavery, they supported the Ku Klux Klan. That's we're arguing back and forth. It's not
Uh,
constructive,
Not a constructive debate, no doubt. No
right?
one's hearing each other. You guys get into a heated debate. You're arguing with each other. Like
Oh
someone
yeah,
walks out with their
oh
hands
yeah,
thrown up in the air.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I can't even get to you, man. Like you just
right.
so far gone.
And then because he said the other day, he was like, "There's no sense in talking to you if you're not going to change." Like,
Oh,
stop.
that's not
It's
even
like
the point of the conversation, right? I mean,
exactly what I said. I was like, I'm not trying to change you, and don't try to change me. It's just for us to open our thoughts on another side. So what I did was I was like, hey, here's this video. You know how they're talking about right now, right? Right
yeah.
now they're talking about for the Democrats are going to shut down the government because Donald Trump won't give them money for whatever. Right now, this is coming from the Republican side. I don't know what they're saying on the Democrat side, because the
Sure.
Republicans hit it from a different angle, and they're saying we won't give. They're going to shut it down because they're going to give. I mean, because the Republicans won't give the Democrats $1 trillion to give the illegal aliens, you know, or to just do stuff that not we, but the Republicans have already stopped. You know what I mean? And I just want to hear the angle from which the Democrats are putting the same situation. If
Okay.
if if I'm not arguing with him and he's not arguing with me, but he gives me a video of what the Democrats are saying. And I want a news video. I don't want a 14-year-old podcaster trying to tell me some shit. You know what I mean? But give me a news video of what the Democrats are saying, or at least a credited podcaster to give me some information. You see what I'm saying?
Not what. Yeah, I do for sure. You wanted to get into not a healthy debate, but at least being able to look at both sides of the aisle in terms of what they're presenting as evidence for funding the government or not funding the government, shutting it down or not shutting it down, for sure.
Right. And I just did that today. I just set that out today. So he hasn't had a chance to respond with his information. And I didn't get a chance to talk to him yet about it. So this is my first time talking about the angle in which I want to see that happening. You dig?
Yeah, I dig you. Yeah, the government shutdown. It's always looming, right? We don't have enough money to fund the projects.
No, I was actually more focused on the conversation with my son to make the conversation more constructive.
Okay, all right. I mean,
there's still a conversation. His mind can be more broad, and my mind can be more broad, and we both get educated, and we both can see how the same government is fucking our minds. Basically, this is what they're telling you guys. This is what they're telling us. Now we can go ahead and shift out the middle thing so we can get to the deeper point.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hopefully we get to it. We'll see. It's always whenever things in the realm of debate, oftentimes it just stays there in debate. And then we move forward. I don't know. We'll move forward one way or the other as a country. We'll see if it's to our benefit or not long term.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
And they got the vehicles, so they're going to take us wherever they want to go.
No doubt. They just I think it's more like a problem reaction solution. Kind of throw a problem out there, see how the people react, come up with a solution that was generally preordained.
Yeah.
So it's kind of what I've seen is usually, two steps forward, one step back to implement the plan that they want long term. But eventually we do go down that path that they want. It's just a matter of how quickly. And that's why I think these parties, they seem to be in opposition, but I think we eventually go to where the national plan is going to take us anyway. It's just a matter of how fast, what the people are into at the moment. And we just keep marching like that. So, man, you sent me an interesting video, bro, about this AI stuff. You want to get into it?
Sure, we can.
Let's see. Let's pull it up here. So, so Ali sent me this video yesterday about Trudeau. I haven't seen him in a long time, by the way. I don't know where you been at. You a big fan of Trudeau? Didn't he get caught up in some the scams or something like that with some books?
Oh, you talking? Yeah. I forgot his name.
Yeah, he got you already, bro.
I was thinking of Canada.
Yeah, Kevin Trudeau. Yeah, he was like some health books or something like that back in the day. But
yeah, they got him with that and the 10-second miracle and all that stuff.
Yeah. So let's pull him up though. He had a good take on AI and what we could be faced with. Are you able to see the screen?
I can see the screen. Yes, sir.
All right, so let's play them.
AI is going to basically take people and make the majority of people in the world slaves, because they will no longer be able to reason or think. They will allow AI to do it for them. I was just talking to some lawyers, and they says, Kevin, the AI is going to change everything in the lawyer business.
Yeah, we can pause and stop if like there's something you want to talk about that he hits. If he hits a good point, instead of just letting it roll all the way through.
And the courts, judges now won't be doing anything. All they'll do is they just push a button, and the AI will read every case ever, and then tell the judge what the decision should be. And here's the reasons why. There's no manual looking it up. They just follow along. This happens in sports. Once
let's
upon
do
a
this real
time, the
quick.
tennis
Let's
player would hit the
for
ball.
sports.
All right, let's go for it.
Okay,
Pause
and
it.
right before we said that, we was talking about hard thinking. The
Yeah.
hardest thinkers are supposed to be them judges. They're making our hard thinkers not thinkers at all. So what he's saying right there is true. But he did bring up sports. So let's see how sports is affected by this lack of thought.
Like a thigh. There you go.
And you'd have somebody look and say out or in.
That's
And
not
they
even
still
hard
do
thinking.
that to some extent, but then somebody says challenge. And technology says, the linesman was wrong. He called it out, but it was in. Interesting. So little by little, what people do is going to be down, 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 but mostly their thinking is going to be gone. So the ability to reason is going to be going down dramatically. Robots and AI are going to be taking over the majority of jobs, and this is going to make people unbelievably depressed, because unless you are producing and creating in your life, you will go into a state of depression. AI is going to change.
Yeah.
All right, man.
And now we can
Speak on it.
see we can see where they have already started. I mean, when we were younger, when they started chopping that down, our ability to think, our ability to do math, our ability to function correctly, as far as when it comes to interaction and thinking at the same time. Remember when you would go to the grocery store or not so much, even McDonald's, when McDonald's first started coming around, they had the cash register. The cash register, they was punching numbers in. Now, like I forget, it was like in the early 90s, they start saying, well, shit, all you got to do is push the picture. There's only pictures on there now. There's no numbers. So they took the ability to calculate out, or because you're not seeing numbers anymore. Everything is
You're not counting back money either. When I first started working at Burger King, we had cash was king. So we're counting money, doing math, giving correct change back. That was part of a prereq, right? You had to be able to count change back.
Yeah. So he's saying it now. When we was calling people stupid because they couldn't even do that. Then when you think about the digital watches.
Yeah.
No more, was it analog watches or whatever?
Yeah.
I think it's
no
analog.
more.
Yeah, no more regular watches anymore. People don't even know how to read watches with hands. So it's like we can actually count and look at how technology is making us a little less active thinkers.
For sure. I remember the first time when I was stationed in Virginia and I had to drive to California because I was stationed there. This was in 2000. Was it? Yeah, 2000. I had literally printed out MapQuest and a map to read directions how to get across the country. I'm not sure I could do that. I mean, I'm sure I could do it today. But most, kids 15, 16, 17 probably never even seen like a real map and try to navigate somewhere. So even just like the ability to navigate even your own city sometimes without GPS,
right,
is
hard.
really, it's hard. I've been here a couple of years, but I don't know everywhere around Oregon like I would like I did when I was in Georgia. But I don't do it without my phone. I got to have the phone. Like, where am I going with the GPS? So even the ability to navigate streets and know where you are is on the decline.
Oh,
everything
man,
is that. Go ahead.
No, it's not even on the decline. It's dead, because I don't.
Sure.
Do you remember when you would print out your MapQuest?
Mm-hmm.
When we first started getting MapQuest, we would read. We was actually reading. Okay, we got to turn left here. We got to turn right here on this street. On Sycamore Street, we turn left, keep going, and then we hit Oak Street. We turn right. We remember that. And then as we would put the MapQuest down, and drive. Okay, that's Sycamore left. Oak Street, right. We weren't like driving.
For sure. Yeah.
we so we knew
Memorize some
math.
things. Yeah.
Exactly. It was math as well, because we knew how to you can call it just memorization too, but it was still the number of turns. You know, some
Number
people,
turns. How many miles it was from one place to the next.
Yeah, and now we got the GPS. We're like, what street was that? Oh, we got to turn here. Where's the little line telling me to turn?
Yeah.
You know, not even reading. We just being directed, and that's like a rat. You know, the rat in the maze.
Yes.
Just telling us where to go. We're not remembering shit. We don't, like, for me right now, even, and it's bad for me, I'm just going to put myself out there. I didn't remember any names of the streets when I was younger. I just knew how to get there. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
So now it's even worse. Like, what street are we on? Like, this is Las Vegas Boulevard. It's the main street. I was like, okay, I forgot it. I didn't know. I was further down. You know?
Yeah. And it's crazy, like, because when you think of a map, right, in order to start to navigate somewhere else, like, let's say I'm in Salem and I got to go to Las Vegas where you are. In order for me to start to navigate there, I have to be oriented first on where I'm at.
Right.
Or to get somewhere else. So if you think about on a deeper level, if you're now relying on MapQuest and you're using, GPS to take you somewhere, it's really disorienting you on where you are in your surroundings. So if you think about that on a conscious level, all this technology is disorienting us from the reality in which we live in.
Yes.
So it's super deep on many levels of how this technology is not only taking over our thought process, but it's putting us into a different world because we don't even know where we are now.
Right.
Physically and mentally sometimes with this technology. So it is super powerful, and it's a really wild time as we start to transition more and more. And part of this is like, how do you get oriented on this technology so you can use it to, in my opinion, use it to your advantage? I don't think it's as grave as he said that everybody's going to become slaves. A large majority will, but it's like anything else. We have to remember that this technology was created by humans. Therefore, humans are still smarter in the sense that if you have the ability to reason and know how to use the technology, you could use it to your advantage rather than being taken advantage of.
I think for the most part with that, I'm just going to disagree with you flat out.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the reason why I say that is because if you think of it as a spider web, right?
Sure.
And we're just doing one thing, and that is GPS. And what you said is taking us away from knowing where we are, basically, in not just the street, not just here, but technology is, as far as GPS, is taking us away from where we are in, like you said, life, right? Now think of it as a spider web. When you hit a spider web, there's all kinds of connectors around it, right?
Yeah.
There's stuff that's connected to the spider web that for our web that we don't necessarily pay attention to all the time. But if we lose that connection that we're not paying attention to all the time, we lose that piece. And then when we try to go find it or we try to work, we can't go in that direction because it's gone altogether. And what I'm meaning is, okay, so we start losing and start depending on this to tell us where to go, right?
Yeah.
But we're having a conversation with somebody that's on an emotional level, right? But the spider web has already connected this emotional stream to a direction to where we're supposed to go, right? With our wife or our child or our friends in a conversation. But we're so used to being guided and directed. So we're looking for trying to remember or trying to learn or trying to see what did I remember that I seen in this TikTok video, or what did I remember that I seen in YouTube? Because now I need a direction on where to take this conversation. I can't build it myself because I don't think for myself anymore. I have AI thinking for me. You know what I mean? I'm not a hard thinker. I'm not a hard thinker. So now I got to remember, what the fuck did Kevin Samuels say about this girl? You know, what did Kevin Trudeau say about the government in this area? You know, not what I learned from in the past, because that has got taken away. You see what I mean? My spider web is now connected to something else instead of what did my mom say? What did my dad tell me? What did my grandparents tell me? What did my uncle tell me? Matter of fact, what did my friend's pops tell me about this situation?
Sure.
We're losing that.
Absolutely. And I think it's twofold. I mean, I certainly agree with what you say. And also I would add to it that is going to be the fate for the majority. However, for the select few who have the awareness to know, okay, this is a technology. How can I use it to my advantage? Already that right there is a critical thinker. So everyone is not going to be like, how can I take this and use it to my advantage? You got to be a critical thinker, even think about that, because the victim, the people who would become victims of it, are going to most likely take the approach, oh man, this is coming along. It's going to take my job. What am I going to do? Oh, there's a handout to help me out. But the ones who are savvy, smart, are going to use it to their advantage and be able to program these models to help them further their life. And the beauty of that is, like, programming now is like prompts. Like you know, when you put something into Chat GPT and you say, pretend you're a software engineer and give me these statistics on this as if you were a professional in the industry, and that prompting can give you the knowledge like you were a software engineer, and that's directing this technology and using it to your advantage. So I mean, I think it could go both ways. Some will capitalize, some won't. I mean, look. I mean, we have to look no further than the ones who created the technology, who created it, are going to capitalize on it, and the majority of the capital will be human capital as they mine data, because that's what it's largely about, is mining data and controlling data points to better manipulate and steer society in a certain direction. And if you are able to do that yourself, you know, use the tools to take advantage of and steer whatever your tribe, whatever your group, whatever your market to sell to is, you can use it to steer them in your direction or your favor as well. So I think it will go both ways. Your audio is off or something. Are you still able to hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you right now, my friend.
How about now?
Yeah, we're good.
You say something.
Can you hear me?
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Little glitch there, but we got it.
Yeah, I was trying to do something. I was trying to see if, because I want when people are walking around the house, and I want them to be able to hear your response to what I'm saying, so that they can understand that it's a good conversation as well, to get their brains thinking.
Sure.
But now there's nobody here. But anyway, however, yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right about that. You're right. There are going to be a select few, because that do have the ability to think. But those select few, I'm saying we have almost like what 900 some million people here in America, in America, right? Or are we at a billion yet?
And last I heard, it was like 300 something million.
Okay,
America.
Yeah. So anyway, we out of that number, say we'll just use 300 million.
344 million according to Wikipedia, July 1st, 2025.
Okay.
So yeah.
Which I thought we had 7 billion people on Earth.
Supposedly.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
so we got 300 million, right?
Yeah.
We got 400 million. Out of those 400 million, the actual critical thinkers, they're dying off, and there's some that are being bred, you know. But they're on the extremes, either uber rich or so poor it doesn't matter, right?
Sure.
I guess there's some on each level, but out of that number, and the way they're pushing technology and the way people are being suppressed and everything like that, there's probably only going to be like a couple thousand people that are actual critical thinking that can actually push forward, because everybody has some sort of technology. Remember what Obama did? Obama made sure that everybody was banked here in America.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was another secret plot, but it's all good.
Yeah, so because everybody's banked, people got the Obama phone, right? Mm-hmm. The Obama phone connected a lot of people, a whole lot of people, to the freaking internet. And then what happened after that? Nobody really. The Obama phone may not still exist, or it might exist, because I never had an Obama phone, right? But I bring this up because I was talking to somebody not yesterday, about a week ago, and they was talking about they still had their Obama phone, and it still works.
When that phone's got to be like 12 years old now.
However, but it still works.
Okay.
And they can still connect to the internet. They can still play games. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So as long as they can still connect to the internet, they can pass that phone down, I guess. I don't know how it works. I've never had an Obama phone.
Sure.
But if they're making technology more readily available to people who would not have it. I've seen homeless people with cell phones out here. You know, I'm like, how are you homeless and have a cell phone? You smell like the backyard of somebody's dumpster, you know, but you have a cell phone. So that's what I'm saying. People are everybody's still getting connected. It's going to be harder for people to think on their own, to think critically. People's thinking critically is really, I do believe, when you look at it through politics, a political light, if people still hold the idea of I'm a Democrat and everything out, or Republican or whatever, I am this party and everything outside this party is bullshit, right? Because there are people that are thinking that, and that is the mindset, you know.
You're right, bro. I was in the VA. Some old dudes about to fight about that.
Right. So
last week,
if that mindset is being pushed into other areas of that person's life or people's lives, that mindset, you can't think critically.
No.
There's no critical thinking if you do not bring another angle of sight. If you can't bring what's on the other side of the basketball, on the other side of the wall, into your sight, or you're not willing, if somebody, here you go, one of the biggest ones that a lot of people sell. Remember when Candace Owens and T.I. was on the same stage with Killer Mike?
Vaguely.
Okay. Candace Owens is on that stage. Candace Owens.
I remember now. I think we talked about this before. Yes.
Yeah. She was an extreme person. I don't know, right or left. And then T.I. was an extreme person, you know, on the other side. Killer Mike, I guess, a moderate. You know, he was the middle. If he wasn't there, nobody would have listened to Candace Owens. Candace Owens is coming with a totally different view. People on T.I.'s side didn't even want to acknowledge her view. You know what I mean? People are right now, when when I was coming up, oh man, you are not a goody two shoes, but what's that? You talk white. There's nothing that you can say. You trying to be educated. You military. You this. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. It's like, wait a minute. We from the same place.
Yeah.
We're from the same place. We may not have done exactly the same thing, but we from the same place, and you know what I've done. You know what I've been in. So don't think just because I went to the military or because I've changed that I changed my walk in life doesn't mean I don't have the same thoughts or similar thoughts or same knowledge from the past. I can still share from this viewpoint, this angle, but people don't want to accept it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you dropped a lot of points, bro. I mean, you talked about Obama phones and what comes to mind first when you say this whole political party thing. It's a very crazy psychological game they play with us with this whole loyalty thing. Like, be loyal to your party, be loyal to your team, be loyal to your alma mater, because that sets you up for what you were just talking about, where you have this allegiance to a specific group, and that can cause you to be closed-minded to what other groups may have to offer. You can see that in religion, you can see that in race, color, you name it. So that's why I think it's so important for the system that everything be identified and everything has a label on it. Because once you define it with the label, and they generally give you the label and the attributes of what that label has to define how you see that person who has that label. So, for example, I remember talking to some people. I've lived in places where there's not a lot of Black people a lot of times, and so people would say things like, they're really surprised when they talk to me because they don't have this image of who I am in their mind when they think of Black people. So there's certain attributes that they're going to expect you to be if you're Black, certain things they expect to be if you're Republican, certain if you're a Christian, so on and so forth. And I think that just serves the system, because we know that the opposite of that would be to recognize the unity of everything. And when you look at the unity of everything, that's not what the system wants. So
that crashes the system.
For sure. Yeah. So we have to be able to be aware, hey, that this is a game being played on us, and it's pulling on our emotions to get us to take allegiance to these different groups and even countries, because, even countries, looks like we went up. Yeah. So even countries, I think it's a very slippery slope when you identify too closely to one group or the other. And that's why I always like to look at things as energetics, because, energy is without a label per se. I mean, you can call it negative, positive, neutral, but that's a more, a better way, I think, to describe a lot of things. Yeah, back up about that Obama phone, and giving that to everyone. I think that was I want to hear your thoughts on it. I think it was kind of a way to get more human capital in the game, because just like the Matrix, the movie, humans are the batteries that keep this thing going. They need our attention, awareness, energy, and focus to be able to keep the system going. And the more energy that they can harness by putting more phones in people's hands just adds more fuel to the system. More people can now be online and bank, like you said, use their banking accounts online. That's more fuel into the system. So it was really a ploy, I think, to get more people in the system, because those homeless people were out of the system. Why the hell do you even need them to have a cell phone? Why do you even care? It's because that data, their energy, their attention, getting them online connects them to the system. And I think that's what it was more about than, like, who cares if they talk on the cell phone? Like, like why would that be a beneficial agenda for American citizens, that, people who don't want to be in the system have cell phones? it makes no sense from that level.
Right. From the other level of control, it makes sense because
Yes.
now I can follow you. I can make sure that your algorithm is what I want it to be. I can make sure we don't have any drifters away. So what? Because the homeless people, and I guarantee you they got a different system for homeless people than they have for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, let's control you like this. So you homeless people don't come over here to the other people and start giving them extra knowledge because you're seeing things from the outside while they're inside. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we're going to make sure that the other people who see you as homeless don't think highly of you.
Right.
We're not going to let everybody know that some of y'all homeless people are veterans that just don't want to be in the system that are still getting paid money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some of y'all that are veterans don't even have PTSD. So as far as the banking them from the Obama phone, there is a thing to where I do believe that it's still keeping people separate in the sense of not being able to think together, because that, like you said, that right there will break and crash the system. When people start seeing, oh, this white supremacist, if they call it white supremacy, it sounds bad. Just like a dictator sounds bad when a dictator is a king, right? A king is a dictator. So it's just a worse word for what this person is. When we start seeing that a person in white supremacy or a separatist can still be part of the group of the earthly group, you know what I mean? They're still part of it. If we could see that they're still part of it, then that would still unite us and still allow people to be separate. We can be separate. We can be, I'm Pan-African, I'm a white separatist or supremacist. We just got to change the words. But I'm freaking a clandestine Chinese person. I'm a clandestine Amish person, because even though the Amish people are separate, we still eat their food. Right?
Yeah.
We still have the ability to learn from an Amish person when if we want to go off the grid. We have that ability. There's nothing wrong with being separate, but they make everybody think there's something wrong with being separate. So because they make everybody think there's something wrong with being separate, they make people say, well, now that I'm separate, I have to put up this guard and fight against the people who are trying to come in. You know what I mean? No, if they knew, if we knew there was nothing wrong with being separate, if everybody felt there was nothing wrong with being separate, there would be no negativity. There would be nobody saying, I need to get in there. I got to get in there. Because no, I'm like, okay, you want to be separate? Cool. You do your separate stuff over there. I ain't going to bother you. But can I get some grain? You know what I mean? Can I get with the people who want to sell some of that grain?
Yeah.
No
doubt.
or whatever. So I think that's what technology is doing too. It's forcing us to be separate, because they're not.
You mean like with the algorithms and stuff, how it steers you this way and it might steer me that way? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, just what you was talking about. How people, the loyalty. Are you going to be loyal? Right. Are you going to be loyal to being Pan-African? Are you going to be loyal to being in one of these clandestine groups?
You know? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Like how this thing go? Like when you're in the hood, and you leave the hood, you can't come back. Oh, you forgot the hood? Not like, and you're in the midst, seriously, like you're in the midst of a lot of people who are struggling, and then you get out and do better, then people make you feel bad for doing better. Like,
Exactly.
wasn't that the whole point? Like, we're supposed to be trying to do better. So now you're gonna make me feel bad for doing better. And that type of mentality too, like crabs in a barrel, just to maintain this loyalty to the group. And not, and the system shows us all the time the system is not even loyal to its citizens.
Right. And then the pushing the crabs in the barrel thing, right? We're human freaking beings. Like there's certain things that we could change as a human. We don't have to say crab in the barrel. I mean, we do, because that's part of what the system has already pushed. It's in books, it's in everything. Yeah, there's always going to be somebody pulling you down, right? If we would teach the opposite of that and focus on the opposite and teach the opposite of that more, there's always somebody there to push you up. There's always somebody there to help pull you up. There's always somebody there that has got your back. So make sure you reach down and you grab them, right? That's what people would see. Yeah. Everybody would start seeing that. The people who are struggling would be like, there's got to be somebody up here that's going to help. Oh, there you go. There you go. Hey, let me go ahead. It's the system of separation. Yeah, that's what they are doing. It's 100% that. They have so many different tactics and techniques to do that. They do it through chemicals. They do it through social media, which is a new system of that.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, they do it through redlining. They do it through community. They do it through people's personal stuff, religion, country, statesmen, everything.
No doubt.
It's not that. It's not that. The system is there to destroy us. The system is, in other words, Satan himself.
Absolutely. And you have absolutely you have to define it that way, because anything that is for your destruction is a negative energy. And that's what, in my opinion, the satanic force is: a negative energy that divides and pulls things apart. And if you look at how decade by decade, there's more and more separation, like more and more labels. Like, you used to be just two forms of sexuality. Now there's like 30. There used to be not as many races of people. Now we got more and more division there, and everything is getting more and more divided. Even if we look at things in science, how as we get smarter and smarter with technology and the ability to go like nano, we're being able to divide things further and further. So that ability to divide is a force, whereas the opposite force is bringing things more and more together, which that's what they call the God state, right? Because when you go to heaven, everything's united. So the opposite of that would be where we are here, under a system that divides and divides and divides and keeps dividing, no matter what. You keep smiling like you got something to say. Go for it.
Well, no, you brought something to light when you said that.
What did I say?
The key, the seed. Oh, you showed me the seed. You know what a seed is?
What's that?
The Big Bang.
No doubt.
The beginning of all life. Everything is separated. We got the visual in our mind. And what do they still tell you? We're getting further and further apart, day by the day.
It's expanding.
Bigger and bigger. It's expanding.
Yep.
God spoke out of his mouth, and it became, right? The way for me, may not be for everybody else. I'm just going to talk about for me. The way that when they say that, God said, "Let there be light." It had to come out from him. He didn't just say, it's already in him. You know, it separated the light from God. If God is everything, when he said, "Let there be light," it would have been inside himself. there's no separation. Let me create this. It would still be inside of himself. There's no separation. But they keep talking about us. We're separated from God. God separated himself from us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe
And
not so much in that word, but the imagery of it. Because when they was in the garden, right?
sure.
God went off someplace else. Satan went off someplace else, which is something that we can see. We can see. My wife is at the spa right now. She went off someplace else. We're together, but we're separated. So everything about separation is everything that we know. When a baby is born, it comes out of the mom. Doesn't mean that it's separate. It's a separate entity, but that connection is still there. We don't see the connections anymore. We're missed. I mean, you see what I mean? When it comes,
I think I kind of get you.
Yeah, we cut in the umbilical cord, but there's still a different connection. There's the spiritual connection. There's the it's not so much a physical. There's the mental connection. There's other connections than just what we can visually see. You know.
Sure.
So, and it's forcing us from the seed of creation. That separation is just part of everything. It's the main part. If we could somehow flip that around and see God calling us back to him, or not even that we were ever separated from the source.
Yeah, I knew you eventually get back to that.
Yeah, we're not separated from the source.
No,
so that means we're all still connected. That's what you preach.
It's because we are. I mean, like, hold on, I'm gonna pull up this picture here.
Yeah.
So right here, this is what emanates from our body. This toroidal field, which is what we all give off. Earth has one of those. Everything has one of these. If you look at a magnet, and it has a toroidal field, an apple, everything has one of these fields surrounding it. And it's this energy that connects us to everything, because that's what we really are. We just see it as a different vibrational rate, so it appears to be solid. But so when you say like that Big Bang, it did emanate from the all, right? Because nothing can come from, in order for us to be here, when God said, let there be, he spoke that vibration out. That vibration is what set everything into motion. And that ripple effect is what permeates and now creates the life that we have here. But everything that's created has both a positive and a negative pole. So if everything has a positive and negative pole, that means that it has a masculine and feminine principle connected to it. And God, in this sense, is the masculine principle. How are we connected to that? Because the human body is the feminine principle. This is why we get like light and thoughts that permeate our psyche, because that's a penetrative or masculine force that penetrates the mind and the heart. And also it said that God breathed into Adam and gave him life. And that breath is what some ancient texts refer to as prana. And this is the active force of breathing in and breathing out, which goes beyond our control. So we're actively being breathed in and breathed out upon by that force, or this positive force, or this masculine force that breathes in and out of us. We become the feminine vessel that receives it. So that's how we get, in messages from God, or why God is oftentimes referred to as masculine, because we receive the masculine energy in this body, which makes us the feminine component. But once it is in us, we have both masculine and feminine energies within us. And then when we have a baby, we do the same thing. We have a vibration, we bang, have sex, and then another creation occurs, which is also a microcosm of that, which still has positive, negative, and neutral poles. So it's kind of just like recreating in and out, and we're always connected because energy can never cease to exist. So the energy that started and emitted this is still here because it can only be transformed into different states. Like what is that? The first or second law of thermodynamics tells us that. So we are always connected, and that can't be changed. But the illusion is to make us think that we're not.
Right. Right. And I really think that we are, again, we're seeing the definitions of words in the wrong way.
Yeah.
We're seeing everything in a way that does create separation or disconnection when we are actually extensions of
Yes.
the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, even that white dude that says, I want to kill all them niggers, it's still an extension of me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
For sure.
And the only way to, I mean, you know, and the way we think about things, we're not, I really wish that we never stopped handwriting. I really wish that some of these people in general did not stop journaling. I wish I didn't stop journaling. I'm starting back, but
What's where are you going with the journaling?
journaling helps you think deeper.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it helps with creation. It also helps with people creating the state that they want to be in. When people journal and they're only journaling sad stuff, that's why they need more people to journal so they can figure it out. Um, Journaling guides your life. It doesn't, if you use it correctly, it will guide your life because you're not supposed to stay in your emotions when you're journaling. Journaling actually is supposed to have plans and ideas. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be like just a diary. You know what I mean? You can have more than one journal, I guess, but when journaling comes in together and it's all one, I mean, it's supposed to be one thing. It's not supposed to be separate. So you can't put your emotions in there. A person can't say, well, today was a bad, fucked up day. Brian did this or somebody dumped me or whatever. They're having a bad day. But there still should be plans. This is what my goal is. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I did towards my goal. You know what I mean? Yeah, my pops died though, you know, and I felt this kind of way during during the time my pops died. This is what I did to heal myself. Or I noticed in my journal, I got stuck in the pain of my pops dying for 5 years, right? But I was still planning on going things. You can go back into your story, not his story, but your story and say, oh, I reread it and I see where I messed up right here. Let me go ahead and change this now. That's what journaling does. Journaling is supposed to be able to uh, guide your life. It's supposed to be able to give you a chance to step out. I mean, now once you be, I'm guessing once a person becomes a master, they don't need the journal anymore. Maybe I'm not a master of it, but it allows a person to say, hey, I mapped out my life. I went wrong here. Let me go ahead and go back in here and change this because now this is my direction. They can write it, they can see it, they can go back. You know, when they do the people do the vision boards.
Yeah.
They looking at the vision boards are supposed to be active. Let me change this. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm looking at. This is where I'm at now. Okay. You got to see change and progression. If you don't see change and progression, the board is just a picture and it's dead.
Yeah.
You know, so we as even businesses that grow, right? Businesses that grow, they have a business plan. Then they also have a financial statement. They have, they have all kinds of different journals that they can use to guide their direction. They have different thoughts that go inside their journals.
Right.
These are the business meetings. This is where this person went wrong. This is where we succeeded. This is this. This is this. We need to do that with our own lives. We need to do that with our own lives.
Yeah, no doubt.
They took that. I know I'm talking a little bit too much. I'll let you step in a second. But they took they decompartmentalized. You know what I'm trying to say?
Decompartmentalized.
Okay, decompartmentalized our lives when it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a freaking assembly line. We're not supposed to have the assembly line mentality. We're supposed to be able to build everything from us. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Jaguar is all built by like 6 people.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. So like plug and play type of like this is here, this is about. So it's kind of a blocky way of thinking about things, is what you're saying. It's not a like here's another example, like we were talking about. Like we're in a very masculine oriented way of thinking, which is the left brain, very logical, linear, straightforward. Whereas the feminine aspect is more creative. It's it's not so logical, not so structured. It's more of a flow type. And when you're writing in your journal, it's more of a creative side of the brain too. So it's more free flowing versus just being so linear. So we are kind of trapped in more of a linear way of thinking, but it's starting to change, man. You can kind of see that shifting. I don't know in your area.
No, I can't see it shifting. I haven't been able to. I ain't gonna say I can't. I haven't been able to. Show me.
Well, in my area, or my awareness, I've been seeing a lot more things come on, like women in business meetings, women in this meeting, women looking out for each other and doing more retreats, like this type of feminine creative energy coming more on board. You can even see it in social media, how everyone is wanting, well, more and more people are wanting to be creators. And that's more of tapping into the feminine energy, being more creative. And even your boy Trudeau mentioned in that his video when we were watching it earlier that most people are going to be slaves unless you can start to create, which means tapping into more of that creative side, or more of the feminine energy, which is more creative in that sense. Go for it.
I think we need to ask the question though.
What's the question?
To women though, and there's only guys right here. When we're using, or what you're saying, bringing that feminine energy, are the women thinking linear in order to fit in to the system? You see what I mean?
I do get what you mean. And also, yeah, and I do get what you mean. And also, like when I'm saying feminine energy, I also mean men are doing this also. Men and women, but women have female bodies can also be misconstrued as feminine energy per se. But I'm not really talking, I'm more talking about the energetics of the creative side. But yes, it is manifested in the physical body. That's a great question. And I think a lot of it can be a desire to be more feminine, women oriented, due to the trauma that's been placed upon women from the masculine energy. If you get what I'm saying, like feeling like we didn't really have a place, we got paid less money, all those different thoughts that go along with the wounded feminine. But that can make a woman more masculine, like you just said. Is that the question? So when I'm saying creative or more feminine, I'm really speaking to the creative side for those who are really embodying it that way. But I do get your point about it could be like a masculine way of going about bringing about feminine energy. That kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, almost like a deception.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, we're bringing the women here, but hey, women, look, this is the setup that we have. We go through these meetings, we do this. No, I understand you're trying to bring that new thing in, but when you bring it in, you got to bring it in like this. You know what I mean? So like they're bringing the feminine energy, but they have to bring it in this way because this is the corridor to which that feminine energy gets scraped off of scraped off the thing. Now you can come this way. Now here we go. We got the linear now. After your ideal done came in, we done broke it down and fix it up to make it fit us. So now there's no more feminine energy. There's no more ideal of that. Just meaning, this is what I'm meaning. Perfect example for my thinking. Maybe not yours. but you got a scientist, right?
Yeah.
I got this beautiful thing that will create so much energy for the rest of the world, and people won't ever have to ask for energy anymore. And the system is like, yo, that is a beautiful energy. We can make a bomb. We can destroy no. This will give people life. This will, yeah, I understand, but you're not on my side. That's some other shit. We need to make this bomb so we can control everybody. You see what I mean? That like that's what how I'm seeing the way it is. I mean, now that's an extreme. That is an extreme form of what I'm saying, but that system does that.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And we also have to remember too that there's a negative side of the masculine as well as a positive side, right? And there's a positive side of the feminine energy and a negative side of it. If you go too masculine, right, you end up first it could be just benign as like, okay, we're gonna go out and we're gonna, hunt a little animal, or we're gonna till up the land, to then going further and further to no, we're gonna kill all the animals and then we're gonna take all the resources out of the land. So that's going too far into the masculine. Whereas the feminine could also be, I just love my baby and I want to kiss it, to you're not going anywhere, baby. You're mine. You're gonna stay in my house and I'm gonna love you. You're not going anywhere. And
we're going to create this program to where I can have all the babies.
All the babies are mine. Yeah, and it can be too much too. So that's something to point out, that there is a positive and I guess a divine side and a devilish side of both of those energies, and they can both get too far. But to use your analogy about that energy that was created, to see the feminine energy in its, I guess, fulfillment. Like you can remember at times where you'd go to, oh, we're gonna go to grandma's house or someone's house, and it's just all nurturing, all love. Let me take care of you. I don't care. Bring your friends over too. They can eat too, and they can come in the house. And that kind of energy is very nurturing, supportive, even creative, because now you got the soul food in the kitchen and you got your own spice and putting your elbow grease into it, and adding your own flavor uninhibited from the masculine force. So it's kind of that energy versus the negative side, where you're creating something and just trying to take over. And that's what we have going on right now. The masculine has been distorted so much that we see it just destroying the land and making bombs to blow people, where we could use that technology, the same nuclear technology, and power the world for free. If it was more balanced out with some of the feminine energy. And that's what and I guess that's what I'm kind of speaking to, is that the balance is coming back. The balance of balancing some of that, because if I was listening to someone the other day, he said if you go too far one way, you eventually revert back to the other side. So if you destroy everything and everyone's into fighting and killing, eventually everyone's going to get tired of fighting, because they see hey man, we've really destroyed the planet, we destroyed this country, this world. We need to chill out and stop fighting for a bit and rebuild this thing. So eventually, no matter what, that is where you'll end up, even with this distorted masculine that's taking place. Hopefully it doesn't get to the point where there's an Armageddon and there's bombs and everything's blown up before we realize, hey, we got to bring more of the feminine energy in to balance things out. But we could be there, but either way it's going to get balanced out no matter what.
Right, right. And the only reason why I was smiling is because I was wondering when you said that, are we going to get there to have everything balanced out before we start dropping bombs and everything? Right now with Mr. Trump, President Trump in the system, 100% masculine. You know what I mean? We have somebody, and this is just what I'm seeing. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. Have you seen where they called all the generals back to Quantico, Virginia?
No, this was recent, this week.
Yeah, all the generals are, for us, all back, not just Marines, but all of them from overseas and everywhere, all came back to Quantico, Virginia for a meeting. And it was an emergency meeting. Wow, an emergency meeting. But you got China and Russia. Building bases in Venezuela. And we just bombed their boat, Venezuela's boat. So we see the actions, and we still already know that China and Russia want to kick our ass. Most definitely China. They're playing a chess game that's awesome against us, and they've been playing this chess game for at least at the minimum 100 some years. You know what I mean? To destroy us. And they said the only reason why they don't destroy us because we have as many guns as a field of grass. You know what I mean? So it's like now they have a chance to get closer to us. So I'm thinking what you said, are we gonna be forced with all these bombs, or like by them posturing up like this? Is it one of those things to where it's just a posture technique? Because we have all of our stuff over there, close to both those countries. We got Japan right next to China. We got other little islands over there that's not spoken about right next to China. We're messing with Taiwan. You know what I mean? Yeah. We got stuff right next to Russia. So now they're trying to get stuff closer to us. And we was doing good with the Cuba, by stopping Russia last time, or was that Germany? That was Russia last time from the Bay of Pigs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
okay,
now it's a little further away, but it's Venezuela. So, and technology has gotten better. I don't know. I just think it's.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking that something's imminent? Is that why you're bringing that up?
I do, only because of the Venezuelans, not because of China, not because of Russia. Now they're helping, but for a country to feel so bullied, to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and let your enemies come over here then, so you don't bully me.
Yeah, I mean, gee, man, it's strange times when that is going on, and then in light of that, we got this going on too. They're moving closer, and then we got troops moving closer. More deployments in the streets. Like, what does this all mean? So China's moving closer. I mean, what is this? The fourth or fifth city now? Trump is talking about putting troops in. Started in California, then it was DC, then they were debating I think it was Chicago, debating on whether troops should be there. Now they're authorizing troops to go into Portland. And I don't know, you remember, years ago, the conspiracy theorists were all saying, martial law, they're going to saturate the streets with troops and
Yeah,
start
go
martial
back
law,
down.
right?
Go back down
Yeah, I'll
a
go back
little
down.
bit.
Right here?
Yeah, no, yeah, I was looking. It says the president will not find lawlessness or violence here unless he plans to
Perpetrate it.
Okay, excuse me.
That's the mayor talking about Trump's the only one going to cause violence here. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I had to get closer, man. It's not that big on my thing.
Yeah, so they're saying that there's no threat, and they're going to continue communicating that to the president.
Yeah, and
but
that what you just said, the martial law and all that other stuff, because I didn't think that Portland, Oregon, was a violent place. You don't hear about it.
it's not in that sense, bro. Like, it's not like Chicago, the murder capital of the world.
Right, and
but
that's
it's
the
one
only
of the,
places that it should be.
for sure. Agreed. And then it's like, okay, so he's talking about coming in and fighting domestic terrorists and these Antifa groups. And they really set the stage for that back during the insurrection, about these domestic terrorists and these groups coming in. And I always wondered, like, when I would hear the conspiracy theorists say, they're going to be troops on the street, like, how would that really fold out? How would that really unfold for the government, national government, to put troops on the streets when they put it under the disguise, in my opinion, the disguise of these groups who are domestic terrorists, who are, going after these ICE buildings and things? That makes it very easy then for them to pull on the emotional heartstrings of the people who are saying, we got to get these people out of our country because they're not like us. They don't identify with our group. They're not part of our country. And when you start having these allegiances like this, it's a very slippery slope, because now you got to decide whether you're going to be staying allegiant to that or not when push comes to shove. And I think that's what they got us in now, because now it's so far gone. People are so emotionally hyped. Or are you going to now say, hold on, president, this is looking a little funny, bro. You're bringing troops on our American streets, but we got to get these illegals out of here. So
Subliminal
mind
messaging.
games. Mind games.
Messaging. Hey, did you see how they even did the hip hop? But you just now said it too. They're not like us. Kendrick Lamar. Push that out there. Yeah, put that out there. He's going to be the best ever. They're not like us. They're not like us. So that's what we're going to be thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
At least the black folks.
Well, you can you could say it as a race, you could say it as a country, you could say it as a citizen, you could look at it as a religion, because anytime you ID with one of these things that has been loaded with a lot of definitions that have been given to you on what that group's about, now you take on all that. And if you don't, then now, hold on, bro, what do you mean? You jumping ship? You're not one of us now? Well, now you're the enemy then. Right. And it makes it very hard for someone to disassociate from that once you've already identified, because we have this thing that's been put in us to be loyal. Like, you can't, like, people give you shit if you're a Patriots fan this week and now you're a Steelers fan. Oh, what do you mean you can't be a Steelers fan? So something so elementary as sports teams, you have to hold allegiances to. So when it rises to this level, it's gonna be very hard for people to shake that identity, and that's exactly what they want.
Right, and they done got us also in another thing with that they're not like us, Republicans and Democrats.
Yes.
This is all something is getting ready to happen really big, and what you just said was because they've been talking about the Iranian people are already here. for the terrorist cells. The Venezuelan people are already here for terrorist cells. They got to get the Mexican people are already here. So it's like, excuse me, not the Mexican people are already here, but the illegal immigrants. I'll just call them illegal immigrants are already here. So they're trying to use ICE to get out of here. They're trying to, and the thing that's kind of scary about it is the name of the group. ICE.
Which group? ICE.
They're in Iraq. What were they called? ISIS. they're and it's somebody a target. They were a target. ISIS was a target to be killed.
And ISIS is also a goddess, which is a feminine goddess that represented, a lot of things, which is also under attack because, as we say, to bring balance to the system, we need more feminine energy, or more, not female, but feminine energy. And this is an attack on that also as it starts to rise up.
Spiritual realm.
Yes.
It's a spiritual attack. So
always. So
there it is. It's all connected. It's all connected, and we're seeing it. And ICE might be ISIS's little baby. I don't know. I don't know, but it's bad. And what you was just saying, you linked it together. This is the way to get the troops here on the ground. And I didn't understand it. I was like, they're not going to be able to bring troops into, like, American troops to surveil Americans, because we can break it down to race. We can break it down to race. Those white people ain't going to be going to their home in Georgia that are in the military, going to their communities in Georgia or Tennessee or freaking anywhere, saying, hey, this is where my family live. We're going to go ahead and, lock y'all motherfuckers down, right? Or black people going over to, now, mind you, we might go over to Chicago and shoot up some motherfuckers, though, because they're getting shot back, getting shot back at. But it's like they're going to have to bring, my whole idea was they're going to have to bring some people from the UN here. Yeah, foreign troops here to manage it. But the way they're doing it, they don't need that right now. They don't need that right now because they should not go to Portland. That should be the last motherfucking. I ain't gonna say the last, but there's other places, man.
Well, there's way more crime in Portland. But if you think about Portland, what Portland has represented since 2020 was a different idealism of how the world should work. Like Portland, Oregon is largely Republican outside of Portland, which is a Democratic state. And if you remember which is a Democratic city, therefore the whole state gets turned into a Democratic state due to the fact that Portland is by far the most population dense city in the state of Oregon. So when you look at it that way, the politics in Oregon, California, and Washington, which they put the troops in California first, those three states are always in lockstep in opposition of things that the establishment, especially when it comes to Republican leaning candidates, are trying to implement. It's always in opposition of that. So I think that is one of the large reasons why that is a target city. And Portland keeps popping up when it comes to, like, Antifa, when it came to being against the vaccines, when it came to being against several different things. Portland keeps popping up. So does California. So does Washington State. And I think it's just to be a example of what we don't want going forward in the establishment. So they use these cities strategically, in my opinion, to show what they do or what they don't want to further the agenda across the nation.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like I got you. Hey, we're here too. We're in Portland too, so we're not just picking on everybody else. Even though the Democrats are like, well, shit, it's a Democratic city. You coming over here in the Democratic city to do it, but no, we're in Portland, Oregon. We're not picking with everybody else, and we already know the violence isn't really that here, but the ideal is a little bit off. We just want to make sure that when we start hitting other cities, maybe that's what it is too, a strategic plan. Also, to add this caveat to it, when we start hitting other cities, we're going to make sure that if Antifa or whoever else tries to rise up here, we go ahead and kill them right off the rip.
For sure. And here's the thing, bro. What I don't like about the government in that the way they present these things to us, like, you've seen was it Jason Bourne, like the movies, Jason Bourne, the Bourne Identity. If you remember, this fool was going, all across the world, right? All across the world, and no matter where he went, they knew exactly where he was. Right. They knew exactly where people were. So you're telling me that we need to make news articles about how we're going to police certain groups when we have the technology to just go get the group. Like, if they're doing that much trouble, if they're that much of a domestic terrorist, you know, everybody's media, their cell phone, where they're connecting, where they're hanging out at. Why don't we just go do that and just nip it in the bud and quit playing around?
No, we're not going to do that because that doesn't make money.
And that's my point. Like, they use these things when they know how to go solve it right away, but they use it as a political tool to pull on the people's emotional heartstrings. One, to steer the people where they want them to go. Two, once they get you emotionally riled up, you're more easily steered to that. And I forget the last point I was going to make, but they just use it as a tool to garners everyone's attention and get them riled up, so that you have to self-identify with the group and identify what side you're on, and further polarize you from being able to come together on topics.
Yeah, it's pretty much sucks. It pretty much sucks because the way that they have figured out how to control everybody. And somebody has said this, and I kind of believe it in the sense that there is a big awakening. We're starting to, I didn't believe it like a few years ago. Yeah, I didn't believe it a few years ago. Yeah. I mean, I believe there was, but I was like, we're not in it, But I do believe now that a lot of people are seeing it. And the only reason why I say a lot of people are seeing it is because fucking the stuff that we already knew about Israel. The stuff we already knew about Israel. Israel is fucking committing genocide, right? They're actually killing everybody. And we are saying, oh no, they're okay. But then we can't talk shit about Israel. You know what I mean? There's nothing we can say because these dudes just brought 250 of our politicians over and planted a fucking tree for every freaking state. They basically own us, is what they're saying. Now we know that what's this? Now we know that we're not just being controlled by the freaking president. And this is for the young people, because a lot of old people know, but now the whole United States should know. What is this?
I'm just throwing this up while you talk about Israel. It's a website called ifamericasnew.org, which has all the stats of what's been going on over there. And you can see the disparity in money, how much aid we've sent over. So basically,
we're $63 million per day.
Correct. No. $63 million per day in legislation was signed into law giving $63 million per day in military aid to Israel and $3.2 million per day in foreign aid to Palestinians.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Hey, bro. I don't know.
Make sense.
It don't make sense. If if this is all fake, I don't know, but I don't believe it is. But it has a lot of the stats and stuff that are speaking to what you're talking about. Look at the airstrikes. I mean, yeah, I mean it's just crazy. And you know, our tax money. I don't know. I don't think it's our tax money, but
No,
a lot of the dollar.
I don't think it's our tax money neither,
Yeah, a
because
lot of the dollars are
it's
going
all
over
written. It's all fake money. They're
for
just
sure.
printing that shit.
I mean, yeah, you don't have to look any further than the GDP that we have every year is not enough to fund everything that goes on. And the fact that they have to raise the debt ceiling every year shows that we've been bankrupt since 1913 under the Federal Reserve Act. So America's been bankrupt for a long time. So basically, it's a Ponzi scheme that's been going on, funding all of these things. Um, yeah, and that's just the reality. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, man. It's pretty sad the way they're doing the way we are doing stuff, and the way that they're going to have to they're going to have to put their boot on our necks. And that's the sad part,
Who's
because
that?
in the system,
Mm,
the system is going to have to put their boots on our necks so that we can think the way they want us to think, you know, because we're the shit that that right there, that Israel thing, that messed them up. That messed them up. I don't think they thought that we were going to actually be able to see the I,
for the
well, I
hypocrisy
don't
or
know.
whatever.
That the hypocrisy of the way we are, and the fact that we're not in control. How are we going to be America? How are we going to be America and let this little country control everything here? And we're supposed to have free speech, and I can't say that these motherfuckers is killing these people when they really are. We're sitting here watching videos on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok of all the people who are representing Israel backpedal, dodge, weave anything about killing Palestinians, you know, and then to tell us in our face, nah, we ain't doing that. But we know they are. The UN didn't even said that they were. But then here you go. Check this shit out. Check this shit out. With technology, right?
Yeah.
With technology. And the way AI has been doing these little fucked up videos. What if all that shit is fake? It's not. But I'm talking about, now I'm not talking about the killing, but what if all of the news about it, like we're looking at Donald Trump, we're looking at Netanyahu, we're looking at these other people in parliament arguing about it. Like I seen a video of Netanyahu starting to give a speech, and half the freaking parliament or whatever walked out.
Mm-hmm.
The other nations walked out. Right. So if all of these other nations are disagreeing with Israel, and they're not small nations, right? Why isn't somebody doing something about it? To me, that doesn't make any sense. To me, that doesn't make sense even for America. Donald Trump to be like, yo, the whole America, everybody jumped out. Hey there, Netanyahu, I'm going to have to separate myself from you. You know what I mean? That only makes sense. I'm going to have to separate myself from you. I can't give you any aid because you're getting ready to get us in a war with all these people for your wrongdoing. We're giving you this money just so you don't show me getting my dick sucked by a little boy, you know, or whatever. You know, I'm talking about the Epstein files and all that other shit. Yeah, I don't know what they have over them, but is everybody's life worth it? You see what I mean? So I think those videos might be fake. I had to bring it back to that. I think those videos might be fake because it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think it's because it's an illusion, right? And it doesn't make sense. And an illusion is always going to appear to be something that is not. And the government appears to be something that is not, in that I think we've used this analogy before, that there's something or someone controlling the governments of the world. And governments of the world are for hire. We know that the governments are for hire because, you got the lobbyists paying for this candidate, that, so on and so forth. And a lot of the, especially in America, you have the electoral college where people are being put into office that may be different from what the citizens voted for. So that tells you that there's something going on. And if you go back, I know you've also said before that what happened to Great Britain, what happened to the kings and queens, what happened to the people who were in power? Did these families just all of a sudden give up power? No, they did not just give up power.
Right.
What they did was hired governments to run it for them, but they're still the hidden hand. So it looks like government is discombobulated and not working right. That's because it's an illusion of government, where the real thing is going on behind is the families the families and the real people who control all the wealth are still fighting amongst each other, fighting for territory, fighting for the upper hand, because they're the ones who pull the purse strings. The Federal Reserve, which lends money to everyone, every country, I mean, all countries, is a private bank owned by private people who are pulling the strings for their in their favor, pulling the strings so they can get the spoils.
Oh, I get it now. I mean, I think I got it before, but you didn't add a different thing to it. So the kings and queens, this is already what I thought. I'm telling you, you just added a different Lego to it. So the kings and queens are already hiding, right? The real people was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't really want to hide too. I mean, I want to hide, but I don't want to do the work about hiding. Hey there, government people, how can I hide? They're talking to their cabinet. Okay, and then the Rothschilds is like, yo, this is what we can do to hide all the kings and queens. I'm gonna get the money from all of y'all motherfuckers. I'll create a fake money and we'll use this fake money to create governments all over the world. We'll let them fight over this fake money
while we have the real resources, which we know is land.
Right.
Go ahead.
Or even something else that we cannot fathom.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Spiritual systems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is that we can't think about, they will never know about this wealth, but we will still be able to give it to our families.
Yeah.
Whether it's long life, whatever it is, they're going to fight over this fake stuff, and they're going to be controlled by this fake stuff. You can go ahead and continue gathering your resources.
Yeah. And how do we make sure we maintain our power? By miseducating them, by giving them fake religions, by giving them fake things to follow, like stars and athletes, by giving them, you go on and you name it, so on and so forth. But that's how they remain the hidden hand. And they give us stories like, Elon Musk being the richest person in the world, but it's a very quick Google search to see how much land the queen owns. And if she owns that much land, she's way wealthier than Elon Musk could ever be. Right. So that is another lie too. So where the wealth is hidden. So that's what's going on, and it makes it look as if these governments are not on the up and up, because they are not, and they're just hired hands to manage the system on behalf of the people who actually run the system. That's why they are openly saying things like, "Hey guys, we'll get you more minimum wage," when everyone knows that's not what people need. That's what you give slaves. That's what you give people who you want to keep under the thumb, because if you gave people real knowledge, real wealth, and we've already talked about how this is training, not education. If you give them just training, then they would have to really fight to educate themselves beyond the training. And that's why we have to piece the things together, like in these conversations and multiple texts that we have to put together to understand what we're even in, because it's such an illusion of control, such an illusion of government, an illusion of freedom, an illusion of education. And all these things have been put in place to hide what's really going on.
The major trap. The major trap. The Matrix.
Yeah.
What is that called? It's not VR.
Oh,
it's the augmented reality.
Augmented reality?
No.
There's a few.
Huh?
The metaverse, augmented reality.
Yeah.
Virtual reality. I don't know.
Virtual, where they're moving us to now with all this technology. That's the end all.
Yes.
That's the end all. There's no more past that, because now we're not even functioning in reality to see the illusion.
Right. And that's why I meant by earlier, disorienting us from where we really are. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be in this other world. We won't see the illusion. The illusion that we will, when we find out that it's an illusion, we're going to be looking at the world that we're in now. That's still under the real illusion. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? They're stepping us down. They're stepping us down and deeper.
Yeah, into like into another reality. They say like this skin that we have is called a derma.
Yeah.
But it's also it's also an anagram for dream. And every time you come into this, it's like a dream. So if you imagine being put into another skin or another body, you get into another layer of the dream. So they're creating another layer through virtual reality to put your consciousness in, which puts it into another state of sleep. And every time you go into a new reality, one of the biggest side effects is forgetting the reality that you were in. And they know that every government has an expiration date. So here's an example of what I mean. One of the texts that they use to control is the Bible. And they knew that this revelation times that everyone talks about, we're living in the time of revelations. If you're planning this, you wrote the book, you know that this time is coming. So you need to have another trap or another matrix or another dream to put people in when the time comes that they wake up. So it's not by chance. Deep. It's not by chance that we're waking up now. The time is right, because you can only keep people dumb for so long, especially with the power and intelligence that the human being has. I mean, shit, we created this world. So with that type of knowledge, you can only keep that person down for so long. So you have to create another trap. And that's what this is. As people are waking up, the next evolution of the matrix or another matrix is the virtual world, which they would like to trap consciousness or minds in for the future, so that they can be trapped for another time frame in which people can wake up from there. But this one is going to be even harder to wake up from. It's even harder to wake up from, because now, it's going to take someone like I always go to this movie, Morpheus, to reach into this new reality, or Neo, to bring these souls out one by one. So it's just creating another layer of the illusion, is my point.
And I think the people who did see it, the people who did see it, wasn't able to put it out there exactly the way it is. And the only reason why I'm saying that, remember that the comedian, I think it's Peele, he did the movie Get Out.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he went into the space. He was in his body, right? The guy, he was in his body, and then the girl did the thing, and it pushed him deeper. so somebody
Yeah.
else can step in.
Yeah.
What if he was letting us know? Because that movie came out right before. I ain't gonna say right before, but in the beginning of this new stage that we're getting ready to go into. That's the warning. What if that's the
Yes.
warning? You're
It
getting
was.
ready to go into the sunken place.
It was.
You have to get out right now.
And get out, right? What does that mean? It's rising up to the level of thought or critical thinking or mental spiritual awareness to realize how to really orient yourself in this new reality that's being created.
Right.
And
And we
once you can
didn't see
orient
it.
yourself, go ahead.
No, go. Once you can orientate you.
And once you can orient yourself, then now you can navigate what's in front of you. But without that initial orientation, like, okay, what am I in? Where am I at? What's around me? Then you can start to act, because when you take on this when you get out, or you take on the consciousness that it would take, that would be being Christ consciousness, which is talks about in this time Christ is returning. And that's what it takes, tapping into who you are, your gifts, your creativity, so you can have the creativity, the intuition to capitalize and not become victim of the new system and end up like a slave, like Trudeau was talking about. But this time, the creators of their own reality will be the ones who survive, the ones who have the critical thinking to see the technology for what it is and harness its power and use it for good rather than evil, or for your uplifting rather than your detriment.
Do you know also in all these movies,
Yep.
where they tell us that we have to get out, I'm just using that. There's always the person who is fighting to get out of the system has got to kill something. There's violence. And it's not just a little bit of violence, it's extreme violence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In order to get out of the system, and the movie Get Out is extreme. The way he has to get out, he has to kill. I'm not saying we got to go out and kill somebody, because we don't know who we got to kill, but there's something out there that we have, in order to get out of this system, we have to destroy it. We have to destroy it, because if, like, you know what I mean? The only way he was able to get out of it could be a spirituality. It could be a way of thinking. It could be whatever. It could be, I'm not fighting against the troops. I'm not fighting against the troops. But it could be the people coming in to physically harm us. You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's a dual nature to it. Everything that happens in the spiritual realm also happens in the physical realm. But so if you could end the war in the mental, then you could end the war in the physical. But there's going to be casualties of war no matter what. But it also, like when you say you have to kill something, we were talking about rising up to your Christ consciousness or your critical thinking level. In order to do that, you may have to end the war that's inside, or kill the ego, or kill the person who's the part of you that's ignorant to what's going on, so that the new you who's awake now can take the reins and then take control of their life. So there is a death, and that's why Christ consciousness are always represented by Christ on the cross. He went down and took the keys from hell, and he was resurrected into a new life. And let this mind be in you that was Christ Jesus. So at this time is resurrecting that inside of you to come online, and then just go forth from there. But that doesn't mean the physical body, there's not something that's going to play out on the physical, but certainly on the spiritual or mental realm, which spirit and mind, I think we talked a few weeks ago, are the same thing. According to the metaphysical dictionary, spirit, mind, and God are one and the same thing. So when you take on this mind of God, or this spirit of God, or this Christ consciousness, you're talking about taking on a new mindset or a new way of seeing the reality. And that seeing the reality is now seeing the truth, because as they say, only the truth can make you free. So that lens allows you to see the truth, which is that we're in this dual plane, but the truth is that we're all really connected beyond the illusion of separation. And we have to connect to that. So it's really that first, as a starting point, is to just orient your thoughts, your mental, your spiritual, your heart, and connecting to your intention so that you can use the spiritual gifts that you have to create a better life for yourself.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
it,
man.
100%. I am going to have to step off.
Yeah, me
That
too,
was
my guy.
beautiful. That was beautiful. You threw a couple bricks at me, and I appreciate that. That was nice. You got
For
something
sure,
to
bro.
focus on.
For sure, bro. Always great talking to you, man. Another good one. Win the books. We covered a little bit of everything today, man.
Sure did. This is
All right,
going to be
bro.
different. All right.
Yeah, for sure. One for the books. All right, bro. A to Z. We out.
A to Z.
Let's end it.